Hey everyone, welcome back to Crypto Cash. Thank you so much for joining me here. Hope you're having a fantastic day. We're taking a look here, of course, at Chiliz, CHZ, helping you understand best practice and big picture. Where's it going to go next? I get a lot of requests from this one, not only from my subscribers, but my community members as well. So I appreciate your patience on this one. We'll go ahead and take a look and see what potential options we have over the weekend. That being said, if you are new to the channel, keep in mind I'm not a financial advisor, right? I just love teaching people to trade. I truly hope I can, teach you something here today. And if you learn something, obviously let me know. Love to hear that. If you want to become a better trader, of course, reference my website, cryptocash.tech. I have a trading community, trading academy, and I send out signals for every single trade that I take, and you can join over 250 active members right now, all learning and growing together. And this is a quick peek here at some of the scalps that we've seen here. Look at Pendejo's doing really awesome with the Chiliz scalp, a short 20x. Of course, we got some long Dogecoin here from Jasraj, as well as, of course, a lot of Dogecoin and Terra Classic, even FTM as well. Very last thing, just to note on this as well, is we just took profits here for Bitcoin at 65%. We just took some profits earlier with Solana short. And if you can kind of see, just the hits keep coming, right? Ethereum for 83%. I think we even had a Matic in here somewhere for, 161% in 10 hours. So again, pretty awesome stuff. Be sure to check that out in your own time, cryptocash.tech. Very last thing, of course, as well, if you're not using Bitget, I don't know what you're doing with yourself. If you want to join the King's Cup Global Invitation, I have members jumping on in here. We've got currently 8 members, need 11 to fully qualify. And basically between now and 11/20, basically the 20th of November is the registration period. Okay, so if you want to be part of that, just so you have Bitget already and you're using it, send me your user ID and I can go ahead and add you to my roster. Okay, so just keep that in mind. Some really cool stuff there. They have monthly giveaways as well. Last month it was 10,000 USDT. So awesome stuff. All right, so here's the thing with Chiliz. Let's take a quick look and kind of understand where we're at. I just pulled up the Fibonacci retracement levels, most recent high to most recent low, and we can see that we've got a definitive line here at about 28 cents or 28.2. A little more specific there. So another thing we want to kind of note as well, and this would be another resistance level potentially, is this level here at about 27 cents. And why I mark that is, of course, we've got the candlestick close cannot break through that level 3 days in a row, and then again here today tentatively, and also previous. So again, I prefer to use support and resistance levels based on candlestick closures, not necessarily the candlestick opened or the wicks rather. You can use the candle wicks for trend lines. So if we do draw a trend on out here, we can go ahead and see that there's good potential that Chiliz will stay above 22 cents moving forward. Right, again, trend lines only hold for so long. We'll see that when we get there. But generally speaking, those are things I like to look at. Okay, so here's the thing. We're overextended on the daily. We're up over 70. Keep in mind, once you break above 70, that it is common for coins to stay above. But you got to also recognize too, unlike other coins right now, we are looking at 7 days of continuation here, followed by 7 previous days with only really one true day of consolidation. So simply put here, if you add 7 plus 7, we're almost at 14 days of continuation here for Chiliz. Now, a lot of this has to do with World Cup and just a lot of those things in that regard, because that's what Chiliz pertains to. But on the same accord, when you have this much of an overextension, we could pretty much just say this is like 9 plus 5. The likelihood of a pullback is pretty high, especially when we're rejecting off of the most immediate resistance level recently. Okay, so that being said, what we could see here, and keep in mind this is the beginning of likely a cup and handle pattern, so there's a good chance we might see that as well before the next breakout. But if we do not get a closure today above 27 cents, the likelihood of that happening is higher. Okay, if we do close above 27 cents here today, just say closer to 28, then we have a stronger chance of breaking through that resistance level because it's considered a support level now. Okay, we got to bridge that gap a little bit later, but for now we're looking for a closure above 27 cents to give us confirmation if we take a long or a short from here. Okay, but for now, everything else appears to be overextended. These are still increasing as well, the oscillator. So in all reality, there's nothing really telling us this price is going to pull back, minus the fact that it is overextended in my personal opinion. Just because it says 7 doesn't mean that this was enough time to consolidate. One doji candle isn't enough time to consolidate. Okay, I think you need more than 24 hours of consolidation personally to be able to warrant a leg up like this. So I wouldn't expect the price to go up any further, minus the fact that if there's some fundamental catalyst pushing the price action higher, that could absolutely factor in. You got to keep that in mind. That's potential. So again, coins like this are very unique. You want to treat them a little different and make sure you look and research as much as you can. Let's go ahead and go to the 4 hour and kind of see where we're at here. We're going to probably see a very similar narrative. We see a 9 on TD sequential, so likelihood of a pullback right now I think is fairly high. Again, you don't always have rejection points at 9s because we see an 8 here and it legged up again, so it could very well continue higher. But generally speaking, we've hit an 8, 8, and now a 9. Okay, so mathematically speaking, the likelihood of Chiliz going much further from here is fairly low, and I think a short on Chiliz would seem more appropriate based on what we've seen here so far. Again, we want to look at everything, but if we have an overextension on the daily and the 4 hour, that's like a double win for the price action reversing itself, okay? Or just obviously depending on the direction, it'll turn itself around. There's just no doubt about it. Same thing happens with shorts as well. You probably want a long in an inverse situation. Take a look, of course, at the RSI. We're coming back down to test 70. There's potential for a bounce, but fairly unlikely. What we should experience is the RSI slowly calming down closer to 50 as the price goes sideways and down. Or if it were to go down, just say a little more aggressively, we'll see that cup and handle pattern. The price likely bounce off 50 on the RSI and continue higher. It's a really common characteristic in cup and handle types of patterns. Again, too early and premature here at this point. The likelihood seems much higher if we close below 27 cents. If we close above 27 cents, once again, we'll have confirmation we've broken that resistance level, working now as a support, and it continues higher. But you got to keep in mind, if you take a look here, this is not looking very good here as a bouncing point off that level. It looks like we've lost it, and if the 4 hour candlestick closes below that, there's a strong chance we'll see further downside. All right, so that's kind of what we're looking at there for Chiliz. Taking a look at the 1 hour. Quickly note, volume weight average price, not super overextended. So the good thing about this trend, keep in mind, is that it's honoring the amount of volume that is corresponding with the price. So we are trying to potentially bounce off the volume weight average price right now. That may or may not happen, but what I'm getting at is that these standard deviation lines, while they are wicking a little bit above, it's not super majors. They're not massive closes or closures above hand. So what that basically just implies is that the volume expressed, let's rewind. If you don't know what volume weight average price is, what it is, it takes the last 24 hours of volume and expresses it as a price. So if we have the price action essentially right here at 26.7, that's essentially right where the volume is telling us the price action should be. It commonly works as a support levels, and we could see a bounce. Either way you look at it, there's standard deviation lines above and below that, and those lines are telling us that it got a bit overextended, but it's not massive. All right, because again, things like this are much more concerning than things like this. So that tells me that we may actually see a potential bounce here. So what I'd recommend doing, of course, and this is my standard procedure, is to wait for confirmation, and a closure on the 1 day candlestick above 27 cents should give us that confirmation. Let's take a quick look at the cloud. Obviously, there's nothing really to note here in parabolic type of movements slash bullish trends. You can totally see all green lights here to leave your position open. Okay, so there's no reason to do that. But hypothetically, the price comes down here to just say 28.5. Or sorry, 25.8, then you should consider closing. So what I typically do is I'll set a stop loss right where the most recent high was, and that is essentially likely going to be the most recent low. Okay, because again, if the price comes down and bounces off that area, that's a stronger likelihood than it is to go further down. Once it goes further down, you've reached that point, and you're already taking profit, right? Again, I know that seems kind of strange and circular in how I describe that, but the best thing to do is to set your stop loss just above the most recent high to ensure that if it were to come back down and it were to bounce, you still stay in your position. And of course, if it continues lower, loses that higher low trend, then of course you're already out of that position in that trade and you're safer than sorry. Okay, those are little things I like to look at. All right, so I guess the summary here is looking for a closure above 27 cents. To me, that seems like a pretty definitive line in the sand. Based on what we see on the smaller time frames, we can see that the price should be pulling back. In fact, I forgot to look at TD sequential on the 1 hour. Actually, no, we did look at this, right? No, actually, I don't think we did. We looked at the 4 hour. That's right. So we got a 9 here on TD sequential, came up to a 7, got a slight reset. Now we're up to a 9 again. So the bottom line is that we are extremely overextended as well. I think we already know that though, right? That's kind of the common theme here. So again, coins like this are likely to pull back. I wouldn't say it's going to drop like a rock, but if we close below 27 cents, I would say it's time to short. There's a good consideration for a short there. Otherwise, if it closes above 27 cents, we want to wait to see if it retests that level once more and bounces, then we'll likely see an increase from there. Right now, it's looking more so like we're going to see a pullback to fulfill this cup and handle pattern. All right, well, I hope you learned something here today. Of course, if you did, comment below. If you want to become a better trader, again, cryptocash.tech is a site. Make sure you use my link in the description below for my Bitget link as well if you want to be part of monthly giveaways and amazing opportunities. Really, really cool exchange. Check it out in your own time. Thanks again for your time. We'll see you in the next one. Take care.